the most common questions I am asked, particularly from people that are moving from out of state, is where are the safest suburbs in Phoenix Metro? And we are going to answer that today. Now, the 6 suburbs that we are going to look at today, I didn't select them because it was my personal opinion. These 6 suburbs were selected based on data from places like niche.com, Area Vibes, and neighborhoodscout.com. However, as a local, it's not surprising that these 6 suburbs received some of the best ratings for crime and safety. But it's also important to note that these scores aren't the end-all be-all when searching for a place to live. And I do have some food for thought or disclaimer at the end of this video, something you should consider when you are trying to find the right location for you and your family to move to. I am Courtney, your local Phoenix realtor, here to share all the amazing things about this beautiful city that I call home. And if you have any questions, I am here to help, so don't hesitate to reach out, whether you're buying, selling, or relocating to Phoenix. But let's jump into the 6 safest suburbs in Phoenix, Arizona, in no particular order, but we're gonna start with the city of Buckeye. So Buckeye is located on the very west side of Phoenix, and this is actually the most western suburb that we are going to be talking about today. It's definitely not central, but it's this new, vibrant area that is growing every day. And on neighborhoodscout.com, this city received a crime index score of 42 out of 100. 100 indicating the safest area, and 1 indicating the highest crime area. And I know what you're probably thinking right now. 42, that's not that great, is it? Well, there's something to note. Okay, so most of the areas that we are talking about today, these suburbs are huge suburbs. They're comprised of 100,000 to 200,000+ people in these communities, in these suburbs. And on Neighborhood Scout, if you look at actually the safest places in the country, the ones that are receiving scores like 95, 96, all these communities are really tiny, like 20, 25,000 people. But when you start looking at these suburbs or these metro areas across the United States, you know, more people, unfortunately, is gonna equate to a higher crime rate. So 42 out of 100, particularly for the Phoenix area, that's a pretty solid score considering how big Buckeye is. And Neighborhood Scout does break things down a little bit further. You can see here that for every 1,000 people, 1.69 people are going to be a victim of violent crime. And what they mean by violent crime, things like robbery or assault. Another great thing to note about Buckeye too is that it's actually the most affordable place that we're gonna talk about today. The median sale price in 2023 is just shy of $400K. A lot of the development here is new. And if you are looking for a newer single family starter home, you can find things under $400K. You might even find things between $350 to $400. The next suburb we're gonna talk about, we're actually gonna move up north and we're gonna look at Surprise, Arizona. Surprise, Arizona is on the northwest side of Phoenix, and it received a crime index score of 31 out of 100. And when you look more at violent crime, for every 1,000 people, there's 1.29 people that are a victim of violent crime here. Now, historically, Surprise was very much known as more of a retirement community. There's a plethora of 55 communities, and then you're also surrounded by a lot of places like Sun City West and Sun City Grand. There still are families and younger people that live in Surprise and really like it there, but I would say its reputation isn't known to be as family driven as maybe some other communities like Gilbert or Queen Creek. Now, Surprise is definitely more on the affordable end compared to other places or other suburbs in Phoenix Metro. The median sale price as of 2023 is around $430,000. A simple starter home, you're probably gonna be looking at the high 300s, but if you're looking for a larger home, maybe with a slightly larger lot, newer upgrades, you're probably gonna be looking at more of that $500-600 range. And if you are a retiree and you're looking for a home in a 55+ community, you might be able to find something a little on the cheaper end, like around $350,000. Now we're gonna jump further east and we're gonna look at Paradise, Paradise Valley. Paradise Valley is right on the border of Scottsdale, and it surrounds the beautiful Camelback Mountain. And it received a crime index score of 32 out of 100. So slightly better than Surprise, but not quite as good as Buckeye. However, the violent crime was actually the lowest in Paradise Valley. It was 0.69 for 1,000 residents. And if you guys are not familiar with Paradise Valley, it is absolutely gorgeous. The mountain views are fantastic. You're not terribly far from Old Town in Scottsdale, and you have a lot of options as far as restaurants, bars, and golfing. And the homes in this area are outrageous. They are beautiful, but also very expensive. The median sale price in Paradise Valley is actually $3.3 million. Yes, I said $1 million. And these extravagant homes, a lot of them are 10 plus, even a few 20 plus $1 million homes. So of course, at this price point, this suburb is not gonna be for everyone, but it is absolutely gorgeous, if not the most gorgeous suburb in my humble opinion. And it's definitely worth just driving around and taking in this beautiful community. But if you do want beautiful mountain views, but maybe your price point isn't at that $3.3 million range, you can go a little bit further east towards Fountain Hills. And Fountain Hills is another great suburb that received good ratings as far as crime and safety. On neighborhoodscout.com, it received a score of 38 out of 100. And then its violent crime rate was 2.73 for every 1,000 residents here. Now, as I referenced a moment ago, it's definitely not near as expensive as Paradise Valley, but I wouldn't say this area is inexpensive by any means. The median price point in Fountain Hills is $625,000. So you can see this is quite a bit more expensive than like Surprise or Buckeye, but definitely not near that $3.3 million we saw in Paradise Valley. There are some options for condos that are in that $300,000 to $400,000 range. If you're looking for a single family home, you're most likely gonna be starting in that $700,000 to $800,000, and then it goes up from there. I mean, you'll find several multi-million-dollar homes in this community as well. And I do wanna make a note about this area. Now, all of Phoenix, the housing market is quite competitive, but Fountain Hills is definitely one of the more competitive communities in the Phoenix metro area right now. The supply here is just really, really low. But let's jump to the fifth suburb that we're gonna talk about today, and this is Gilbert, Arizona. So Gilbert is in the southeast area of Phoenix, and it has grown so much in the past 30 years. And if you aren't familiar with Gilbert, Gilbert has received much recognition and awards for being family friendly and having a great school system. As far as crime and safety, it did receive a crime index score of 42 out of 100. And then its violent crime rate was 1.19 per 1,000 residents. So Gilbert isn't as expensive as Fountain Hills or near as expensive as Paradise Valley, but it definitely has become more of an expensive suburb in the past 4 to 5 years. The median price point right now is about $570,000. Now you can find single family homes, more of a simple, basic single family home in that mid 400 range. However, the Gilbert market is very competitive, particularly at that price point. But if your budget is in a higher price range, you might have a little easier time. It's still competitive, not quite as competitive as those home prices that are below the median sale price currently. However, with the real estate market, you never know what will happen, and these things could shift quite quickly. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Now, the last suburb that we're gonna talk about today is Queen Creek, Arizona, and this was actually ranked as the safest suburb in Phoenix Metro. Queen Creek is on the very southeast part of Phoenix Metro, and I will say it is pretty remote. You're pretty far on the peripheral of the metro area, kind of similar to Buckeye. And this area has recently boomed, so you're gonna see a lot of new construction in Queen Creek. Now on neighborhoodscout.com, it received the highest crime index score of 47 out of 100. And as for violent crime, it was 3.35 for every 1,000 residents. The median price point in Queen Creek is currently at $478,000. I do want to make a note about the median sale price because the data that we get for Queen Creek, it's also including data from Santan Valley, which is the surrounding unincorporated area around Queen Creek. Now, Santan is definitely less expensive than Queen Creek. So if you are looking for a home specifically in the city limits of Queen Creek, you're probably gonna notice that most of the houses are definitely above that $478,000. You're gonna have more options in the $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 range. Not that you can't find a few homes in the $400,000 to $500,000 range, there's just not as many options. You're gonna find a lot more options in the Santan Valley area. Historically, Queen Creek was known to be a pretty inexpensive area, but similar to Gilbert, we're seeing a lot of change in the past couple of years, and we're also seeing even million-dollar homes, several million-dollar homes being built in the Queen Creek area. Queen Creek really is becoming this beautiful, clean, family-friendly area, and the school ratings actually are quite good here as well. Now, as I mentioned in the very beginning of the video, I did have some food for thought, or a disclaimer, if you will, and that is, if you are moving to the Phoenix area and you want to live in an area with good safety and low crime, I wouldn't just limit your search to these 6 different suburbs. And the reason for it is there are other cities like Tempe or Mesa that don't necessarily get the best safety scores when you look at the whole entire city. And if you get down into the details of these cities or suburbs and you look at specific neighborhoods or just sections, in Tempe and Mesa, there are certain zip codes and certain neighborhoods that are just as safe as the areas or the suburbs that I previously talked about a moment ago. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to cover every neighborhood or every area in this video, but hopefully this video at least gives you a good place to start when you're researching good, safe areas in the Phoenix metro area. Now, if you're curious more about just general safety or crime for Phoenix metro as a whole, I do have this video up here that is worth checking out. It really talks about how Phoenix compares to other cities, other metro areas in the United States. Again, thank you so much for your time and have a fantastic day.